really excited to be speaking with Jade McDade today. Jade is the head of e-commerce, audience and partnerships at News Corp, which includes well-known websites such as news.com.au and Body and Soul. First of all, I want to say a big thank you for speaking with us today. I'd love to know how 2022 has been for you so far.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So I think what we've seen is a really strong start to the year in January. We saw those all the summer sales post Boxing Day perform really well. We did see consumer spend drop off a bit in Feb, March and early April. But now we've seen as we get towards the end of the financial year, we've had a really strong end to the year. We've seen consumers are really loving the tax time deals. That's really been key. There's a lot of electronics moving in particular, and home appliances as well too. So yeah, it's been really good and we're excited for the next financial year too and the rest of the calendar year.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the busiest times a year and obviously lots of competition as well.
Yeah, there is.
So I'd love to know, what are successful advertisers doing in the space?
For us, the most successful partners are the ones who trust us and trust that our editorial team know their audience, know our audience really well. They're writing to them every day. They see what the audience clicks on, what they don't click on, what they read, what they purchase, what they don't. So I think those partners who trust that we know our audience best and we know how to write to them are the ones that end up being the most successful. So we usually take a combination of, okay, what does this retailer do well? And then align that with what we know our audience likes and what our editorial team knows about the audience as well.
Yeah, and that's a great point around trust and really being able to trust your editorial team and kind of hand over those reins. So what would be the best method for an advertiser to work with you in that instance? Should they just simply share their objectives or what should they do?
Yeah, for us, we look at it as not so much campaigns with objectives and briefs. We look at it as more always on content that always delivers sales and revenue for a retailer. A lot of the content we produce is evergreen as well too. So that means it's always relevant, whether it's seasonal. So say in winter, it might be heated blankets or weighted blankets. But it's your content that's always relevant, that's always delivering. So we think that's important to drive consistent volume for retailers. Yes, so what we do is when we look at, we align the retailer's strengths alongside what our editorial team knows about the audience as well too, and we marry them all together. So say if it's coming into winter and we've got a retailer, we look at, okay, which products do we know that our audience always purchases in winter? And then which ones those retailers sell? Is that retailer competitive on price? And is that content that we think we could get an audience to as well? So we think always putting the audience first and front and center is the most important in when we look at any objectives, because we're asking them to do something. We're asking them to click on an article or a headline. We're asking them to click out to a retailer, and when we serve them to that retailer, we want to make sure they're primed to convert.
So I'd love to know, what are advertisers surprised to learn when they start working with you?
Yes, some of the Partnerize retailers we've worked with previously have been very impressed by the new customer rate we've driven, and we didn't ever set out with that as an objective with those retailers. It was something we observed in the post reporting. So from that, what we did was when we looked into which content and products exactly are driving that new customer rate, and when we drilled down into it, we saw it was actually our homepage promos on sites like news.com.au, because those homepages get such a large audience to them. News.com.au is unique as a website in that it has a lot of direct traffic that comes to that homepage direct to see what's happening, what's in the news, what are the products we recommend. And so we realized to scale that homepage, because it reaches such a large audience, then we could tap into a lot of new customers from that. So also there were other things we could do, like just specific content that's written to these are new customer discount codes for these retailers, or unearthing retailers that our audience might not be familiar with already. So we know, okay, well, we don't usually write about this retailer. So therefore, if we do, and when we deliver that content to a large audience, therefore we should deliver a higher new customer rate. So yeah, so that's been a good one. And now from the experience with those Partnerize retailers, we now look at more, we speak to other retailers and say, a new customer is important to you, is customer acquisition cost, and then we try and factor that in our planning as well too. So.
Yeah, brilliant. And I guess the great thing is that that's all measurable within Partnerize reporting as well. So you can actually see month on month the percentage of new customers versus existing that you're actually driving for these retailers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we can see that in Partnerize, and in our reporting as well too for our content, we can see specifically which articles are driving those new customers and which products as well too, which is great.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
So what new opportunities are available that advertisers should be aware of?
Yeah, well, from our learnings from new customer rate, I think definitely commissioning on new customer rate versus existing, so different CPAs if it's a new customer or returning. We've also seen some retailers have told us they want to reduce churn and target lapsed customers as well too. So then we look at, okay, what is a lapsed customer exactly? And that's a little bit trickier to target with content, but we do try and approach that in the same way as new customers. Yeah, so just looking at what can we do beyond just one flat fee commission rate.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you highlighted that as well. And are there any other trends that you're seeing happening in the market?
For content publishers, we're seeing different attribution models. So that might be first touch or last touch attribution. Obviously, last click is traditionally the model that the industry operates to. But we think we're seeing now retailers are understanding the value of the content we provide and that we introduce an influencer purchase as well as closing it. So with our content, we can play to all those points in the funnel. But we see, obviously, traditionally, a lot of the credit goes to last click or last touch. So first touch, as an example of that, say we recently wrote a Dyson Airwrap review. So it's a very expensive product, $800 product. And our writer took the time to use the tool over a few weeks, learn how to use it, talk the audience through all the features. So very lengthy, resource-heavy piece of content to produce. So one of our readers might read that content and be like, that's amazing. I want the Dyson Airwrap now after I've read this and her hair looks amazing. And so we've created and introduced that product and created the desire for it. Because it's an expensive product, that reader might not go and purchase it right then and there. But a week later, they might see a coupon or cashback or discount on that product. And therefore, then they'll say, great, I can get it cheaper. Let me go and buy it over here. But then we've created the need for that specific product to buy from that retailer, not just here's a coupon or a discount for this retailer. Here's a specific product. So we send our audience in with an intention to buy a specific product from a specific retailer. So I think, for us, there's a lot of work that goes into that content. So we want to help retailers understand the value of that as well.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, because I think a lot of retailers historically have kind of correlated content sites like news.com.au with upper funnel, and don't necessarily see that you can play across that purchase journey as well. So that's super interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And we look at that in the type of content we produce. So we produce things like, product reviews. We do roundups as well, and sales and deals too. So the sales and deals is obviously like the closer, and the other ones sometimes are more educational or informative as well.
Out of curiosity, I'd love to know, what sort of trends are you seeing from a product perspective?
Yeah, well, every year we see there's a new gimmicky product that emerges. So the last year or two, it's been hooded blankets, weighted blankets, and all kinds of vacuums, robot vacuums in particular, our audience has loved. And we've just been blown away by the volume we've sold. It's like, how many more people do not have robot vacuums yet? Like, we sell a ton of them. So we think what the next trend's going to be, because it's really big in Europe, is robot lawnmowers. One of our, actually, an ex-member of our team went to Europe, and she was so excited to tell us. She's like, everyone here has robot lawnmowers. You guys have to write about them. They're huge. So we're not seeing many retailers stock them here yet. So that's our goal, to try and get robot lawnmowers on everyone in Australia's lawns now. So
Sign
stay
me up.
tuned.
I can't wait. Great. Okay, well, I think we can leave it there. Thank you so much for your time, Jade. We really appreciate it.
Cool. Thank you.